Deuteronomy chapter 29. So Moses finished telling the Israelites what they had to do in order to keep the agreement the Lord was making with them in Moab, which was in addition to the one that had made with them at Mount Sinai. Moses called the nation of Israel together and told them, "When you were in Egypt, you saw the perform great miracles that caused trouble for the king, his officials, and everyone else in the country. He has even told you, for 40 years led you through the desert, but your clothes and your sandals didn't wear out, and I gave you special food. I did these things so you would realize that I am your God. But the must give you a change of heart before you truly understand what you have seen and heard. When we first camped here, King Sihon of Heshbon and King Og of Bashan attacked, but we defeated them. Then we captured their land and divided it among the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and East Manasseh. Israel, that has made an agreement with you, and if you keep your part, you will be successful in everything you do. Today everyone in our nation is standing here in the presence, including leaders and officials, parents and children, and even those foreigners who cut wood and carry water for us. We are at this place of worship to promise that we will keep our part of the agreement with our God. In this agreement, the promise that you would be His people and that He would be your God. He first made this promise to your ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and today He is making this same promise to you. But it isn't just for you, it is also for your descendants. When we lived in Egypt, you saw the Egyptians worship disgusting idols of wood, stone, silver, and gold. Then as we traveled through other nations, you saw those people worship other disgusting idols. So make sure that everyone in your tribe remains faithful to Thee and never starts worshiping gods of other nations. If even one of you worships idols, you will be like the root of a plant that produces bitter, poisonous fruit. You may be an Israelite and know all about the agreement with us, but He won't bless you if you rebel against Him. You may think you can get away with it, but you will cause the rest of Israel to be punished along with you. They will be furious, and instead of forgiving you, He will separate you from the other tribes. Then He will destroy you, by piling on you all the curses in the book of God's law, and you will be forgotten forever. Will strike your country with diseases and disasters. Your descendants and foreigners from distant countries will see that your land has become a scorching desert of salt and sulfur, where nothing is planted, nothing sprouts, and nothing grows. It will be as lifeless as the land around the cities of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim, after they became angry and destroyed them. People from other nations will ask, "Why did they destroy this country? Why was He so furious?" And they will be given this answer: "Our ancestors worshipped them, but after He brought them out of Egypt and made an agreement with them, they rejected the agreement and decided to worship gods that had never helped them. They had forbidden Israel to worship these gods, and so He became furious and punished the land with all the curses in. Then He pulled up Israel by the roots and tossed them into a foreign country, where they still are today." Our God hasn't explained the present or the future, but He has commanded us to obey the laws He gave to us and our descendants. Deuteronomy chapter 30. I have told you everything the Lord your God will do for you, and I've also told you the curses He will put on you if you reject Him. He will scatter you in faraway countries, but when you realize that He is punishing you, return to Him with all your heart and soul and start obeying the commands I have given to you today. Then He will stop punishing you and treat you with kindness. He may have scattered you to the farthest countries on earth, but He will bring you back. Then He will stop punishing you and treat you with kindness. He may have scattered you to the farthest countries on earth, but He will bring you back to the land that had belonged to your ancestors and make you even more successful and powerful than they ever were. You and your descendants are stubborn, but the Lord will make you willing to obey Him and love Him with all your heart and soul, and you will enjoy a long life. Then the Lord your God will remove the curses from you and put them on those enemies who hate and attack you. You will again obey the laws and teachings of the Lord, and He will bless you with many children, large herds and flocks, and abundant crops. The Lord will be happy to do good things for you, just as He did for your ancestors. But you must decide once and for all to worship Him with all your heart and soul and to obey everything in the book of God's law. You know God's laws, and it isn't impossible to obey them. His commands aren't in heaven, so you can't excuse yourselves by saying, "How can we obey the Lord's commands?" They are in heaven, and no one can go up to get them, then bring them down and explain them to us. And you can't say, "How can we obey the Lord's commands?" They are across the sea, and someone must go across, then bring them back and explain them to us. No, these commands are nearby and you know them by heart. All you have to do is obey. Today I am giving you a choice. You can choose life and success or death and disaster. I am commanding you to be loyal to the Lord, to live the way He has told you, and to obey His laws and teachings. You are about to cross the Jordan River and take the land that He is giving you. If you obey Him, you will live and become successful and powerful. On the other hand, you might choose to disobey the Lord and reject Him. So I'm warning you that if you bow down and worship other gods, you won't have long to live. I am commanding you to be loyal to the Lord, to live the way He has told you, and to obey His laws and teachings. You are about to cross the Jordan River and take the land that He is giving you. If you obey Him, you will live and become successful and powerful. On the other hand, you might choose to disobey the Lord and reject Him. So I'm warning you that if you bow down and worship other gods, you won't have long to live. I am commanding you to be loyal to the Lord, to live the way He has told you, and to obey His laws and teachings. You are about to cross the Jordan River and take the land that He is giving you. If you obey Him, you will live and become successful and powerful. On the other hand, you might choose to disobey the Lord and reject Him. So I'm warning you that if you bow down and worship other gods, you won't have long to live. Now I call the sky and the earth to be witnesses that I am offering you this choice. Will you choose for the Lord to make you prosperous and give you a long life? Or will He put you under a curse and kill you? Choose life. Be completely faithful to the Lord your God, love Him, and do whatever He tells you. The Lord is the only one who can give life, and He will let you live a long time in the land that He promised to your ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Deuteronomy chapter 31 verses 1 to 18. Moses again spoke to the whole nation of Israel, "I am 120 years old, and I am no longer able to be your leader. And besides that, the Lord your God has told me that He won't let me cross the Jordan River. But He has promised that He and Joshua will lead you across the Jordan to attack the nations that live on the other side. They will destroy those nations just as He destroyed Sihon and Og, those two Amorite kings. Just remember, whenever you capture a place, kill everyone who lives there. Be brave and strong. Don't be afraid of the nations on the other side of the Jordan. Your God will always be at your side, and He will never abandon you." Then Moses called Joshua up in front of the crowd and said, "Joshua, be brave and strong as you lead these people into their land. They made a promise long ago to Israel's ancestors that this land would someday belong to Israel. That time has now come, and you must divide up the land among the people. They will lead you into the land. He will always be with you and help you, so don't ever be afraid of your enemies." Moses wrote down all of these laws and teachings and gave them to the priests and the leaders of Israel. The priests were from the Levi tribe, and they carried the sacred chest that belonged to them. Moses told these priests and leaders, each year the Israelites must come together to celebrate the festival of shelters at the place where they chooses to be worshipped. You must read these laws and teachings to the people at the festival every 7th year, the year when loans do not need to be repaid. Everyone must come, men, women, children, and even the foreigners who live in your towns. And each new generation will listen and learn to worship their God with fear and trembling and to do exactly what is said in God's law. They told Moses, "You will soon die, so bring Joshua to the sacred tent, and I will appoint him the leader of Israel." Moses and Joshua went to the sacred tent, and they appeared in a thick cloud right over the entrance to the tent. Said Moses, "You will soon die. But Israel is going into a land where other gods are worshipped, and Israel will reject me and start worshipping these gods. The people will break the agreement I made with them, and I will be so furious that I will abandon them and ignore their prayers. I will send disasters and suffering that will nearly wipe them out. Finally, they will realize that the disasters happened because I abandoned them. They will pray to me, but I will ignore them because they were evil and started worshiping other gods. Deuteronomy chapter 31 verse 23. The Lord told Joshua, "Be brave and strong. I will help you lead the people of Israel into the land that I have promised them."